Hi, my name is Joanne Lowy, and I'm the Local Board Relationship Manager for PSPRS. Welcome, and thank you for serving on a local board and taking part in this training session. This session provides a foundational knowledge of the fiduciary duties of local board members and the process in which local board determinations are reviewed and may be challenged. By understanding fiduciary concepts and applying member eligibility and benefit requirements in state law, local boards can effectively administer plan benefits for Arizona's first responders and corrections officers. We'll start by defining the term fiduciary. It's a term that many of us have heard, but fewer may have clearly understood. Its definition is nearly universal. A fiduciary is a person or persons or an organization that has a duty to act on behalf of designated beneficiaries and act legally and ethically to serve in a beneficiary's best interest. The task often, but not always, involves the managing of finances and assets. Many money managers, financial advisors, executors, board members, and corporate officers are fiduciaries and have the fiduciary obligations. Let's take a typical real-life example of a fiduciary role and show how the themes apply to PSPRS. Say a parent or grandparent establishes a trust for children, grandchildren, or future generations. The terms and benefits of the trust are established by that parent or grandparent, just as the state legislature sets the terms and benefits from members of PSPRS managed retirement plans. Often a friend, relative, attorney, or expert will be designated as a trustee to manage the trust for the benefit of and in the interest of a beneficiary. In the case of the PSPRS trust, that fiduciary role and duty is placed with the PSPRS Board of Trustees, while local boards share in the decision-making process on behalf of plan members. From there, current and future beneficiaries receive benefits according to the terms of the trust, which in the case of PSPRS is set in statute. Under state law, the 9-member PSPRS Board of Trustees shares fiduciary responsibilities with local boards. The most relevant and practical shared duties include the requirements to operate solely in the interest of and to provide benefits to members and beneficiaries. Both must operate with care, skill, and caution in carrying out their duties. Both must seek to limit cost in an appropriate and reasonable standard, act impartially, and use good faith when interpreting and complying with state law. Both have the requirement of abiding by laws passed by the legislature. The roles of fiduciaries, including trustees and local board members, requires discretion and decision-making. As a result, fiduciaries must adhere to a basic and understandable level of attentiveness, and there are fair and reasonable standards for judging fiduciaries. With care, skill, and caution is a universal standard recognized in state law, while other terms like good faith and appropriate and reasonable are common descriptions or requirements. Decisions are judged fairly and not through the benefit of hindsight, as acknowledged by common standards as under the circumstances, or simply questioning whether a prudent person could reach a similar determination. Fiduciaries are expected to execute their duties with character and purpose, and in an impartial manner. Among the primary fiduciary roles for local boards is the consideration of membership eligibility, member disability, and line of duty death applications. Evaluating these applications requires discretion and judgment and an understanding of any financial impact to the plan that may arise. As such, board members are authorized and encouraged to request additional information or records that would help them make an informed decision on whether a member's eligibility or benefit application is allowable under state law. Please note that local boards are required to make determinations within 90 days in order to protect the interest of plan members, and that local boards must adopt public safety and corrections model uniform rules to address rehearing of determinations and to resolve disputes. As part of the fiduciary duty to plan members, local boards may not change or ignore the statutory requirements for member eligibility or plan benefits. Local boards are required to appoint an independent medical board with a designated physician or physicians to evaluate member disability applications. Independent medical evaluations help protect the plan membership from both the inappropriate denial and the inappropriate awarding of disability benefits. While we're on the subject of fiduciary duties related to local boards, we're going to take a moment to address the legal process of reviewing local board decisions. Local board determinations are not final and binding without the acceptance of PSPRS. Please note that the vast majority of determinations are accepted and processed, but PSPRS, under state law and its fiduciary obligations, cannot approve determinations that violate state law or threaten the plan's status as a tax-qualified plan with a federal Internal Revenue Service. If deemed necessary, the PSPRS Board of Trustees may require additional documentation from a local board or employer. PSPRS may also hire its own independent medical examiner to review disability retirement applications. PSPRS may also hire its own independent medical examiners to review disability retirement applications. PSPRS can also require local boards to conduct rehearings and appear before both local boards and courts to protect plan assets. This authority is also granted to the PSPRS administrator. The ability to seek rehearings also applies to plan members and beneficiaries, and the process is the same for all parties. Claimants must request a rehearing within 60 days of the initial local board determination that they wish to review. Local boards must conduct rehearings within 90 days of a request being filed, and local boards should inform claimants of the date and time set for the rehearing. During a rehearing, local boards may uphold, rescind, or modify their initial determination that is under review. Parties, including PSPRS and members or beneficiaries, may appeal the outcome of a rehearing through the court system. This process is conducted through the county superior courts and, if necessary, through the appellate courts. It is the duty of the claimants to file timely and proper appeals as directed by state law and rules established by the courts. Now we'll return to more fiduciary concepts in local board laws. The fiduciary concepts and related tasks in state law require local board members to have a working knowledge of the financial condition of their employer account within the larger system. This can be achieved by reviewing the local board's employer annual valuation, which provides both basic and detailed information. The term assets refers to monetary value of local board's corresponding share of assets under the management of PSPRS. Employer and member contributions to the plan are invested by PSPRS, and the total value is referred to as a plan's assets. Liabilities is the present-day financial amount that is required to meet the benefits earned to date by an employer's retirees and currently employed members. By measuring an employer's assets and liabilities, a plan's funded status is determined and measures to what degree an employer is able to fund the benefits earned to date for retirees and active members. An employer's contribution rate is required contribution by percentage as compared to its active members' payroll. Contribution rates are made up of two major components. Normal contribution rates account for the current year benefits earned by members as they continue to work, and the second is referred to as amortization of unfunded liability cost. Don't let this term intimidate you, and don't forget about it. The amortization of unfunded liability cost is the amount needed to fund the unfunded portion of an employer's liabilities, similar to a mortgage payment stated as a percentage applied to the active member's payroll. Another important contribution rate that local boards must be familiar with is the alternate contribution rate. This rate is paid by employers and is applied to retired public safety or corrections officers who return to work. This is intended for all positions to contribute towards the amortization of the unfunded liability. State law requires local boards to review employer valuations as well as receipts and disbursements of the fund. This information can be found in valuations and in the Government Accounting Standards Board or GATSB report. For this training, we're going to take a look at portions of an annual evaluation for a mid-sized public safety employer. Please note that employers and local boards are encouraged to review the entire employer valuation. Employer valuations contain a lot of information. There's summary of tables of contribution rates and funded status, comparisons to prior years, stated reasons for changes to employer contribution rates, as well as detailed information about the employer's members and retirees. Basic information concerning the actuarial dollar value of an employer's plan assets, liabilities, and funded ratio can be found in Section 3, Liability Support page in the valuation. Note that this and many sections of the valuation distinguish between Tier 1, 2, and 3 members. General but useful statistics concerning an employer's contribution rates by percentage and in dollar figures can be found in the Section 2 Contribution Results page. To understand your plan, it's important to review both percentages and dollars. Again, we are using a sample valuation to display how an employer's normal and amortization of unfunded liability cost combine to form the employer's total pension contribution rate. As mentioned earlier, normal cost contributions are required to cover the additional benefits that active members will earn as they continue to work. All employers of PSPRS managed plan members will pay normal cost contributions no matter what, but the second contribution component, the amortization of unfunded liabilities, is dependent upon an employer's funded ratio. The lower the funded ratio, the higher the amortization of unfunded liabilities rate. In this particular employer's valuation, both the amortization of unfunded liability rate and the required dollar contributions are below those associated with the normal cost, but not by much. It is not uncommon for employers of PSPRS managed plan members to pay a higher percentage related to the amortization of unfunded liabilities than they do for the normal cost of benefits accrued by actively employed members. For this reason, many employers are seeking to pay down their unfunded liabilities through additional contributions. For this same reason, local boards must recognize their plan's financial condition and exercise their fiduciary obligations to make sure that plan eligibility and benefit determinations that directly impact the plan are made according to law. Please note that the alternate contribution rate is applicable when employers hire retired return-to-work plan members to public safety or corrections positions. And finally, this presentation is intended for training purposes only and is not considered legal advice. Local board members are encouraged to read Arizona's statutes regarding local boards and employer responsibilities. Model Uniform Rules information is available on the PSPRS website, and a video playlist on understanding PSPRS investments and pension financing is available on the PSPRS YouTube site. Local boards are also encouraged to consult with their attorney as needed. Thank you for attending this training session and serving your community by joining your local board.